And welcome to hashtag Grow Your Life live sessions here on Facebook and Instagram, where we go live every single morning with tips and strategies to help you grow in your life, grow in your business, and just live a better life and have more fun, more success, yada, yada, yada. Today, what I wanted to talk to you about is what I can do. What can I do? People ask when I feel overwhelmed. And for me, this is something that I've felt personally for a very long time that used to control me. It used to grip me. And I can relate to this very strongly, to where I would have so much going on, so much that I should be doing, so much that I would want to do, that I would feel overwhelmed. And in that, it would crush me, and I would notice it was hard to reach my goals. I would feel stressed out. My body would be inflamed by the stress hormones that it was creating. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't focus. It's painful. And if you're somebody right now who's watching this and you're feeling overwhelmed, I want to say this. I want to say very clearly that I get it. It's very real. It feels real. It is crushing. But at the same time, there's a few things and strategies that we can do when we feel overwhelmed to realign ourselves and to center ourselves to where we're called to go, where we're going, and to see breakthrough from this. For myself personally, just my own personal testimony, a lot of my overwhelm came from fear and worry of making a mistake, not doing everything right, and worry that I would be judged for what I did do or didn't do every single day, that I would somehow bring harm to myself, to my family, to our business. And I was juggling and trying to hold, it would feel like a stack of suitcases on my back every single day. And the suitcases would just pile up and pile up. And about once a week, it would get to the point where I couldn't handle it anymore, and I would snap. I would break. And I would have a moment to where I would just lose it mentally, lose it emotionally, say things I didn't mean, do things I didn't mean, maybe pound my hand on the table. It was not a pretty sight. And, I looked at it like, is this a mental health issue? And yes, I think it was a kind of an anxiety, a depression, that type of a thing that was taking over it. But for me, I discovered, and it was really my wife that has helped me with this. She is like absolute genius. She lives her life in this state of not overwhelmed yet doing so much at one time. And learning from her has helped me in this. And what it was is being present in the moment of the activity that you're doing in that moment, not focusing on all the list of stuff that you have to do, and also giving yourself grace that if you don't get your whole list done today, it's okay. Giving yourself grace that if you don't get everything perfect, it's okay. Because here's the thing, is we create these lists, these ideas of perfection out of, we know how to reach our goals. We know what we should do. We know where we should go. And people are saying that, but then it's like, how do you balance all of that? And it's about taking ownership over the choices and the decisions that you make for your day and doing the things that are going to best serve you for your goals. And that's where getting centered on your goals, where you're headed, is so important. Overwhelm comes when we have too many voices and distractions and goals and should do's that come in that we have to do every single day. And now I want to stop this by saying that's also very real. If you're raising kids, if you have a business, if you're growing a business and working a job, you're going to have to juggle things. You're going to have to do a lot of stuff and getting your workouts in. If you're working out every day, it can be overwhelming. And so for me, what I've had to do to completely actually maximize. This is what I've been able to do. Maximize my output, what I can do. I'm actually doing 3 to 4 times as much stuff in the day with absolutely no feeling of overwhelm. And so when I was feeling overwhelmed, I was doing like this much, and now I'm doing 4 times that, even the amount of time I'm doing, but I'm not feeling overwhelmed. And how I was able to do that was being present in the moment of the actions that I'm doing and not thinking about doing something else. When I was resting, I was thinking about work. When I was working, I was thinking about chores, about workouts, about fitness, about all of that. And my mind was constantly in another place. When I was spending time with my wife, I was not thinking about us, and I would have guilt in every single area of that. And then I would have a to-do list that I was never checking stuff off of. And so it was twofold of this. One, I was unconsciously spending time on things that were not serving me towards my goals. I was not prioritizing what needs to be done when it needs to get done. And then when I was doing those priorities, I was not fully present in them in those moments. Meaning, when I was working, I was not focused on my work. I would have a window open with Facebook. I would be texting people. When I was spending time with my wife, I would have Facebook open and texting people. Facebook's been a big one for me, to where I'm on Facebook and Instagram here with you guys, but it became a distraction even. When I would have certain tasks in the week, I would have so many tasks I had to get done by a deadline, and feeling guilt and shame if I didn't reach that deadline, and feeling like if I didn't hit that deadline, if I didn't get my workout in by this time at this day, I was a quote unquote failure. I had to realize I had to give myself grace to not hit everything by a certain time on a certain day all the time, and really focusing on what are the need to do priorities in this moment. How can I get centered and aligned with my goals? And then how can I make sure that the things that I'm doing are not coming out of a place of fear, a lack of confidence, embarrassment, shame, worry about what other people will think. This may be the standard that if I don't do this, people are going to say, look at you, we told you that you couldn't have done that, or we knew you couldn't have done that. And this shame and this guilt that I would not hit certain milestones that I set for myself, and that if I didn't hit them, that it meant that I was worth less or more. And so to not feel overwhelmed, it comes out of a place of realizing your identity, that your worth, that your value does not come from the items you check off your list, the things that you do every day, the amount of workouts that you get in, the items you check off your list, the cleaning of the bathroom today. You can do it tomorrow. You can do it the next day. And this concept that time is actually a construct. Time is a construct that we come up with as humans based on, it's a way to keep us organized, but sometimes we let time control us instead of us being in control of time. And so all of this boils up and piles up, and we feel this overwhelm. And the truth comes from being present in the moment of what we're working on, not allowing the opinions of people or media or society to tell us your identity equals this if you get this done. Realizing and taking ownership over the choices that you've made for your day and your actions, and then choosing what you're going to do now in this moment or that moment versus another moment. And then in that, walking out where we're going, where we're headed, not letting this feeling of overwhelm take over us and completely self-sabotage us, and giving ourselves grace that if we don't get it all done, that if it's not all perfect, that it's okay, that you can do it tomorrow, that you can take a little extra time, that you can get up a little extra earlier, that we can make a choice and take ownership over our choices. You see, in our society today, and I'm going to actually restart this this Instagram so I can keep going on this because I really want to press into this here. So here's part 2 on Instagram over here, is realizing society tells us that we are equal to what we accomplish, what we get done. Society makes us feel like if we don't do XYZ, our self-worth is in those things. The truth is this, that when we get centered and aligned with our identity of what we were created for, what we were called to do, and where we're going, no opinions of other people can be put on top of us. And yet it's ingrained in our culture. We grow up, we're in school, we're taught that our value is in getting an A, getting a B, getting it done by a certain time, getting our homework done, getting our tasks done in order, getting things done and accomplished equals our self-worth. And that's a complete lie. And it creates overwhelm. It actually creates a mental block that prevents you from ever reaching your goals. In fact, that entire concept was designed to control people, to keep them in line, to keep them in order, so that they don't waver or move off track. And it was built by corporate America, the Industrial Revolution, to help companies increase their profits for the stock market and decrease the the amount of fall off in that. And so in that, I want you to realize this, that this overwhelm has been ingrained and beat into our culture for the last 100 years, that you are equal to what you do. Marketers tell us your worth is in how your body looks so that they can sell you certain things. And I want you to realize this, that when we're growing our life, when we're growing towards where we're called to go in our destiny, in our calling, we have to sit there and we have to say, no, I'm not going to fit into the mold of society, of what culture tells me my value is, what I'm worth, my self-worth, equaling this or that of doing XYZ, and rather choosing what we do out of a choice for where we're going, where we're headed, not because we're trying to hit a certain mark, not because we're trying to hit a certain goal, not because we shouldn't do this, we're worth something or not if we don't, but rather this is a choice for my life. And it only comes from releasing the fear and the shame of past experiences of when you didn't hit your goals, when you didn't hit the mark, when you didn't reach those goals. You probably felt this pain saying you're not worthy. And it created this overwhelm. And so in that is forgiving yourself first, forgiving those other people that said that, forgiving society and releasing it. And realizing that that was an experience that created a belief, an experiential truth that then made a story in your life that you told yourself repeatedly, and it creates this hamster wheel of overwhelm, never feeling like you're enough, never feeling worthy of success, never feeling like you're reaching your goals, never feeling like you're reaching the mark of where you're going, where you're headed. And it creates this cycle, this vicious cycle of overwhelm, of guilt, of shame, of worry. And what we have to do is we have to lay that aside. We have to declare. That's where declarations come in, you guys. And declarations are not even just a spiritual thing. They're very much a human thing, a mental health thing, to tell ourselves the truth. I can choose what I'm going to do today. I can make a choice for my family. I can choose to not do what I should do today. The should do's of life are controlling us and creating this false overwhelm because we feel like we're not enough. And realizing you are enough. No matter what you do, no matter what you output or accomplish, your value as a human being, your self-worth does not come from that. What happens is then when you know that, when you speak the truth and declare your identity that I have all the tools I need, I can choose to do this. And for me, God created me, God seated me in heavenly places. I am not equal to the value of what I output, but rather the truth about what God says about my identity. And when you come from that place, what you do flows down from that place. You see, your worth is not in what you output, what you accomplish, and what you do. We're not do and then be. So in society, we're taught you do X, Y, Z, and then you become this. But rather, we become who we're called to be. We become the person that we're called to be. And then out of that output flows what we do, flows our actions. And I heard Steve Backlund say this, we don't say to an apple tree, well, that might be an apple tree, but it doesn't have apples yet, so it's not. An apple tree doesn't have to produce the apples to become an apple tree. And so for you, this is completely counterculture to everything that we're taught growing up. But the most successful people know this, that no matter what people say about you, no matter what you've done in your past, no matter what you have accomplished or not accomplished, you have to make a choice and a decision to choose the emotion that you feel, to realize that the things that are happening around you are working for you and not against you, and that your calling and your destiny and where you're headed was planted in you. Your identity does not come from what you do, but rather who you are. If you're not spiritual, if we're not going to spiritualize this, you're a human being, and human beings have so much potential in us. I believe humans, we were created in the image of God, and that we either draw energy from the world around us, from what we do, or we draw energy from the creator of the universe. That we get our power either from the creator of the universe, or from the universe, or from what we do. And the weakest place for most humans is actually drawing our energy from what we do, because we can never go past what we do. We hit a glass ceiling of what we do. But when we release that ceiling and we realize there's so much potential, so much possibility for all of us in our lives, and then it flows down from the baseline, the bottom level of identity, of knowing that we were created for more, that we were made for more, what we were made for, and that nobody can tell us what we can or cannot do, that they can't tell us that we're worth less or more based on what we do. And then we release those past experiences, we take the truth about what God says about our identity, we put it on top of those beliefs, those experiential truths, and then we flow out of that place. Overwhelm gets released, and we can be present in the moment of what we're doing, what our actions are, what we're called to do, and it flows out of this place here. And in moments of overwhelm, it's about having peace, not letting the outside voices come in. If we're listening to Facebook, if we're paying attention to people that are saying that we're not enough, that we're not worthy, that we're not worth something, we have these voices that come in, and we listen to them and we take them in as our identity, instead casting those things off and knowing the truth about who you are, what you were made for, what you're called to do. And then out of that place, the actions you do flow out of that place. You're present in the choices. We take ownership over the choices we make, and then we make decisions. Our actions then follow that. And in that place, we know, if I don't get that done today, it's okay. If I don't accomplish that, that's okay. My value and my worth as a human is not in what I do, but rather who I am, what I was made for, what I was called to do. And out of that place flows what we do, and overwhelm is released, and it comes off of us like this weight that's weighing us down, and we have freedom to fly, almost like we can literally do anything. We can do more from that place rather than the pressing and the overwhelming. And that's how we can grow our lives, everybody. So I hope this helps you. I know it was a long live here, but I know I needed to share this with somebody. And so I hope this blessed you. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're going through as well, because I want to make some follow-ups to this as well. So have a good one, everybody, and we'll talk soon.